In this function, we're going to multiply the function by a, and the a is going to be greater than 1. And this time we're going to look at another one of our little functions, 1 over x. This is really 3 times 1 over x. So we're going to do the same principle. The first thing I'm going to do, we're going to use the same trick, I should say, is I'm going to graph 1 over x, because that's what I can compare it to. And there's a nice graph of 1 over x, and we're all familiar with that and can sketch that without plotting a point, I'm sure, by now. But what happens when I multiply this thing by 3? There's no 0 point here or anything that it's going to be anchored to. So I'll just have to take a point on this. What's going to happen, of course, is I'm going to get 1 over x, but for each point I'm going to get it 3 times as high. So if I take a point here, it's going to be 3 times as high. If I take a point right here, it's going to be 3 times as high. Here it's going to be 3 times as high. Here it's going to be 3 times as high. And it's going to look like this. It's going to be outside this function. It's as though this were a rope and you just pulled on it like that and pulled it away from the origin like that. What happens over here is a similar thing, but instead of being 3 times as high in the positive sense, it's 3 times as high in the negative sense. So it's about there. This one is about 3 times as high. This one is about 3 times as high. So it looks like this. And notice that in terms of being an odd function, this is still an odd function. Just because I multiplied it by 3 didn't really change the fact that this is a reflection about the origin. And that's what it looks like. And again, it looks like this is a little piece of rope. 1 over x is a piece of rope, and you pulled on it and pulled the thing away from the origin. Now over here, I'm going to look at 1 over x slightly differently. I'm going to look at it as really 1/2 times 1 over x. That is, my a is going to be between 0 and 1. And so the first thing I do, of course, is I graph my 1 over x. That's the first thing. Okay, there's roughly 1 over x. Now, each point now is 1/2 as high. So if I take a point on, say, right here, and I'm going to make it 1/2 as high, this is a point on 1 over 2x. If I take a point here and about half as high, that's a point on 1 over 2x. Same thing here. Notice it's inside this. Same here, it's half as high. And then you get this kind of thing. And it's as though this were a piece of rope and you let go and you let it sag toward the origins. That's kind of the feeling you get on these reciprocal functions. 1 over x, 1 over x squared, 1 over the square root of x, that kind of thing. So the same thing happens here. Each one is 1/2 as high. It's 1/2 as negative, height meaning in the negative direction. 1/2 as high, and this is 1/2. And you can just go down and plot points. They're very, very easy. Something like that. Okay, and it's inside. And again, it's as though the rope was relaxed into the origin there when you multiply by a number between 0 and 1.